Okay, I wanted to talk about how I solder, what I use to solder, what temperature I solder at. Anyway, I got a soldering gun that's adjustable. The temperature's adjustable. And I have three different tips. I got a pencil tip, then I got a tiny, like 1 mil beveled edge tip, and then I get a little bit bigger, maybe a 2.5, 3 mil beveled edge tip. And I use the large beveled edge tip for the big pads and the battery connectors and XT60 connectors. I use the middle-sized tip for a lot of my ESCs if I'm working on the ESC itself. And then I use the pencil tip for all the through-hole connectors and the little pads. So as far as solder, I get it from the local Radio Shack that was usually there, and it's 60/40 solder. I use 23 gauge on the small stuff and 18 gauge on the larger stuff. Yeah, I might heat my, let's turn it on right here. I might heat my gun up a little hotter than normal, but I've seen people heating their gun ups way hotter than what I run mine at. I want to say mine runs at 590 for all the tips. I never change the temperature. All right. I usually have a sponge in there if I have to cool it down a few degrees, and I have the brass screen in there to clean off the tip. So my Hacko is getting up to temperature. There it is, 590, and I use that for every tip. So let's do the little ones. For the little ones, I'll use the thin solder. My tip is already hot. God, I left it sitting there on the table. We're going to do all the little pads. I like to hold it down, so I find something with some weight on it. And I hold it down. You can clean the pads off with rubbing alcohol, but I use this alcohol-based cleaner, and I just clean off the pads that I'm doing. And I'm going to clean them all off. Right? Let's swap the board around. And we'll clean all of these off. Just to get the oil from your fingers off and this and that. Alright, so again, we have the pencil tip on there. I'll run it through my brass. I don't have any sponge left. It's wore out, and I gotta get a new one. I've been using the kitchen sponge, so I add a little there, right? And I like to just lay it on the pads, and I'm gonna go through this really fast because I know I got my gun at 590. I see people running it at 800. Anyway, I like to go fast. All right. Once the first pad starts going, all the rest of them go very fast. So you got to be on it. Ready? So I have a little on my tip here. And I'm going to hit that first pad and start moving it around. There it is. There it is. A little more on that one. A little there. Right? That one needs a little more. It looks like my tip needs to be cleaned off again. You don't want too much hanging on your tip. Okay? Alright, that's those. Let's turn it. Are you getting it? There we go. We're just tinning the board. Getting it ready to receive those wires. Let me clean the tip. I'm getting too much on the tip. Just clean it off a little bit. Alright. There it is. That's all the ones with the pencil tip. I'm going to turn off my iron. We're going to let it cool down. And we're going to get ready and we'll put the big tip on. We won't change the temperature. I'm going to let it cool down and we'll put the big tip on. I got the big tip on there now. We're going to switch to the thicker solder. Again, you can do this with the thinner solder, but you're going to have to be feeding it. And you want to be on and off fast. That's the whole thing about this, you know. So here's a few boards that I pulled out of other builds that were thought to have issues. And I cleaned them up and resoldered them. And I just cleaned them up with rubbing alcohol and I tested them out and they seemed to test out fine. So I can't put them in a new build, but I could use them for something else possibly. So, alright, we got our big tip up to temperature. I'm going to clean it off. We're going to bring it around. We're going to set this heavy thing on it again. And I just don't want to set it down because it'll burn this and then it's floating on a piece of wood. So we're going to find out what side of this iron this stuff likes to be on, and it seems that both sides are really good. So we're going to just go with this side and put a little on there, and this is just to quickly transfer the heat. And again, we're going to be on and off. We're going to work our way across this so fast. See the holes in here? That's to help hold this on. You want to get it to go down inside those holes too. So I got too much on there. Did I get that one? I think we got her. Clean off it again. Pick that up. Really quick. On and off. Okay. We're going to flip it around. I'm going to do the other side. Those little ones I probably should have did with the smaller head or that head, but we'll be alright. clean it off. I'm going to use the edge a little bit. Like that. And there it is. Alright. We just tinned this PDB. And it's ready to go in. And if we want, we can clean it off a little bit with some rubbing alcohol to get the flux off of there. But other than that, this thing's ready to go. So that's how I use my tips and solder to tin my PDBs. I would do the same if, let's see, if I was dropping an ESC on there, or do I have an ESC out? Let's see, I gotta have one. What's this? No, it's out of the package. Hold on, here we go. See? And these wires are a little small if you had a bigger ESC. But again, I would start from away from me or the furthest one in and work your way out, and you just touch it on there. Okay, you just, again, you're just going to be fast. Get the wire, drop it down, lift it up. Done. See that? Let's do the other one. Really fast, really fast. You get the wire where you want it. You touch the wire. Wait for it to melt down into the next one. Lift it up. I'm a little off there. See that? I fixed it. I'll fix it really quick. That's it. Have a sponge to cool it down, to cool your tip down, just in case you have to cool it down a little bit. And make sure it's always clean. Don't have a big blob of stuff on there. This isn't actually going to go on this board, is it? No. So we're going to take this off while it's hot. Okay. That's that. You have an issue with a pad, you got a little too much on there, get your solder sucker out and go back to it. Ready? Took a little off of there. Right? Let's clean it up. Bada bing. Alright, so that's soldering for today.